You know, it never ceases to amaze me how quickly things can change in this business. Just a few days ago, I was actually excited about wrestling again for a change. TNA had a great X Division pay-per-view, WWE was doing some really cool stuff with the CM Punk angle, and they actually grew a pair of balls and had him beat Cena and leave the company with the title, leaving me genuinely anxious to see how it all turned out. But then they had to go and kill my buzz. Raw was back to business as usual. Without CM Punk, the show just felt completely deflated, and it probably won't get any better until he comes back. And then there was Impact. Oh, Impact. Last week, this week, what can you really say about it? Well, I'll say this. Whatever lightning in a bottle they had that allowed for them to noticeably improve the TV show over the last number of weeks, they've lost it. Not that the show was horrendous, really. There was just nothing really interesting about it. A big part of the problem was and continues to be this Sting Joker crap. And if you're sick of this, and you want to see me tear that storyline a new asshole, go read my new blog, Do We Look Like a Company with a Plan? Link is right down there. Another problem is the continued burial of Ken Anderson. I don't know who this guy pissed off, but he must have seriously taken a dump in Dixie Carter's coffee or something. They built this guy up as being obsessed with regaining the world title for months. And when he finally wins it back, he loses it right back to Sting in his first title defense, and now he's losing matches in like 3 minutes?
What the fuck?
I guess TNA will just not be satisfied until they've completely destroyed Anderson's ability to ever draw money for them ever again. Wouldn't be the first time they've done that in the last year. The Pope. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's talk about the good stuff on this show before I dive into everything else. There was some pretty decent hype for Hardcore Justice, and the Sting Angle stuff was good. I like the X Division segment. Kendrick and Shelley were having a pretty good match there until the interference, and I was fine with the interference because there was actually a reason for it. And they got to wrestle for a few minutes before it happened. And it was done to set up what I assume is going to be a triple threat for the X Division title at the pay-per-view with Austin Aries. And that sounds good to me. Let's do it. I also like the build-up for the tag title match. And I did not think I was going to say that. Okay, first, Mexican America came out. Then Anarchia got on the microphone and started talking. Ha-ha! And just when I was reaching for the nearest sharp object with which to slit my wrist, Beer Money came out, James Storm cut a brilliant promo of his own, single-handedly saved this segment and hyped their pay-per-view match at the same time. Though let me be absolutely clear on one thing. I can't stand Mexican America. And not in a wow, there's such great heels way either. This faction is intolerable. It doesn't click on any level, and it's really unfortunate that I have to include Sarita and Rosita in there because I do like them. They're talented and deserve better than this crap. But Hernandez has been completely exposed, and Anarchia is just fucking awful. And it makes me sick that these clowns are actually getting a title shot now. This year alone, they have injured 3 people in the ring due to sheer carelessness, put 2 of those guys out of action for months, and you reward them with a tag team title shot? Why? Why do that when the British invasion proved in just 2 appearances why they are an infinitely more viable alternative?
You people are fools!
So I hate that. But I loved how James Storm completely pooned those losers on the mic. And some people have been criticizing his promo as being racist or something. I didn't see it that way at all. In fact, I was impressed with how Storm went out of his way to cover his bases in that regard. He wasn't crapping on Hispanic people, just Mexican America. And let's be honest, this faction is basically comprised of a bunch of walking stereotypes as it is, so to treat them as anything else would just be stupid. Speaking of Mexican America, Sarita and Rosita lost the knockout tag titles to Tara and Tessmacher in a feud in which the writers blasted through about a month of build-up in about 5 minutes. That was stupid, and the match was chaotic as all hell. I understand the title change. I mean, Sarita has that facial paralysis, so I guess they had to drop the belts to someone. And I guess I should be more pissed off about them losing to the first ever random pairing of Tara and Tessmacher, but that's really unavoidable since there are no other knockout tag teams in this company. I mean, maybe Winter and Angelina, but there's really nothing there. The women's roster is depleted and stale, and they've done nothing to fix it. Case in point, Madison Rayne. I can't fucking believe this feud with her and Tara is still not over. You know why it's not over? Because they have nothing else for Madison to do and no one else to feud her with. So they're just going to continue feuding her and Tara, even though I cannot imagine that anyone gives a shit anymore. Now, if they want to bring in a new girl like Serena Deeb or Jen Blake and partner her with Madison so they can go for the knockout tag titles, that would be fine. I'd be cool with that. At least it would finally get some new female talent in there, and they need new female talent. I mean, they're bringing back all these former knockouts that they were doing nothing with in their last runs, and that's not going to solve this problem. This division needs a fresh coat of paint, and the only way they get that is with new talent. But they bring back ODB and Jackie again. So apparently that stipulation last week where if they lost to Velvet they had to leave TNA forever was absolutely meaningless. But maybe I should be grateful in this case because they stopped the Mickie James Velvet Sky title match from happening. And that's a whole other can of worms. What the hell is going on here? What is with this ludicrous notion that Mickie James versus Velvet Sky is this huge, epic money match in the making? I'm sorry, is that a joke? I felt horrible for Mickie when she had to go out there and hype this up like it was a big deal, saying it's going to be the greatest match in women's wrestling.
Oh, what a bunch of bull.
TNA, no one believes that. No one. And the fact that the writers are actually trying to sell it like that is a damn insult. You're lying to the fans, man. No one's buying this crap. I missed the part where we were supposed to buy into Velvet Sky as this amazing, super credible competitor. Seriously, what the hell are they basing this on? Have you ever, and I mean ever, seen Velvet Sky deliver a great match? No, it just doesn't happen. And why? Because as sexy as she is, as good on the mic as she is, as perky as her boobs might be, Velvet is just not a good wrestler. She's just not. And nothing you do or say is going to convince people otherwise because we are not stupid. But unfortunately, that's not stopping them from trying to convince us. God only knows why. And in doing this, they are turning Velvet Sky into the biggest Mary Sue character in all of wrestling. Mickie says it's going to be an honor to give Velvet her first ever Knockouts title shot. So, Velvet's previous title shots never happened apparently. We're just supposed to forget about when she had 3 title shots in one show, lost to Taylor Wilde twice in like 15 seconds, and then lost to her a third time by DQ when Angelina interfered because Velvet couldn't beat Taylor because she sucks. We're just retconning that out of the history books now because that would make Velvet look bad, and God knows we can't have that because Velvet Sky is suddenly the greatest thing ever, the center of the universe around which the entire knockout division revolves. ODB and Jackie came back because they're jealous of Velvet. Tracy Brooks came back from out of nowhere because she feels sorry for Velvet and wants to watch her back. Because Tracy Brooks and Velvet Sky were such great friends during Tracy's run in this company. It's not like Velvet was a heel in the Beautiful People back then or anything.
This whole show is ridiculous!
Not to beat a dead horse here, but if you used a new talent for this, you'd have a blank slate to build a character on, and you wouldn't have to deal with details like that. Details that make absolutely no sense whatsoever. Velvet and Tracy were never friends. They were never associated with each other. I don't even recall them ever speaking to each other. And now, all of a sudden, they're BFFs? Just like that for no reason? There's a term for this. It's called lazy writing.
This whole show violates everything about my journalistic integrity.
And finally, this week, Impact Wrestling saw the return of our old friend. That's right, the unhyped, unadvertised, should be on pay-per-view ladder match. Duh. I guess WWE just did a ladder match pay-per-view, so you figure we'll just copy what they're doing. But because we put the match on free TV, fans will appreciate that, because that's original. Because that's good writing, right? Right?
I was a war correspondent, and now I'm covering this!
Look, I've come to terms with the fact that you're more concerned with the TV show than your pay-per-views because the TV deal is where most of your revenue comes from. But if you're going to do a match like this, don't you think it would be a good idea to present it as if it's a really big deal? Hype it up for a while, announce it a week in advance, so that you have a chance to generate interest and get people excited for it so you can really take advantage of whatever ratings drawing potential it might have? The purpose of doing a ladder match on free TV is to draw ratings, isn't it? But when you present it in a half-assed manner like this, you severely hinder its ability to do that because the audience doesn't see it as being important. And if you seriously want to do this, just days after WWE did their Money in the Bank pay-per-view, you damn well better present a ladder match that is just as good, just as important, or more so than the ones they put on, because anything else just makes you look like a cheap imitation, just like the Sting Joker nonsense does, might I add. Did you do any of these things? No. The match was like 5 minutes and change, and we really didn't get the sense that the outcome really mattered at all, because you hardly spent any time whatsoever discussing it. Just, Matt Morgan moves into second place in the Bound for Glory series. Moving on, next segment. The match was good while it lasted, but it just fell into the same trap these things always do, and that it wasn't long enough or presented as being important enough to justify even doing it in the first place. So that's the end of this video. I enjoyed a few things this week, like the X Division segment and James Storm's promo, but generally I just don't know what to make of this show right now. It's one step forward, one step back, time and time and time again. The Immortal storyline is a mess. The Sting Joker character is an embarrassment. The product just seems like it's spinning its wheels right now, and any time they get some momentum going, like with Destination X, they throw it away. Is a little quality and consistency really too much to ask for? Is it?